All right, guys, welcome to another episode of our morning crypto discussion. Yeah, so we discussing what's been happening today. Space now from your end. Hope you've seen some of the crazy stuffs that happened earlier this week. And most
Well,
importantly, the balancer hack.
yeah, Balance has actually been an old DeFi protocol that has just been there. The funny thing about most of these platforms is the moment we, will I say, forget them, or the moment
Yeah,
they are like new stores for us to make money from, we forget about like old protocols that are still working.
yeah,
They're like solid DeFi protocols. When we had that DeFi boom, previous cycles, those protocols were like really attractive, because of maybe a token, the yield farming in those protocols, and all that
yeah,
good stuff. But when other narrative came, blockchains came, time passed, we forgot about those protocols. There are so many of them that are still profitable. They still have large amounts of money locked up. They are still giving yields and all that stuff. So when I heard, earlier in the week about the hack on Balancer, when I
yeah.
saw it, they were like $70 million has already gone. I was like, Jesus Christ, Balancer. It's been long. I haven't thought about Balancer. So
And it even got
uh,
above 100 million. It went above $100 million, the hack.
yeah, because I heard the hack was still ongoing, back then.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things where I tell people, right, we've gone past the days of buy and forget, or uh, lock your money and forget. Check on the
yeah,
protocol every week or from time to time. See what is happening. See if there is news you get, because you can do
yeah,
huddle and forget, and then you come back, your money your money is worthless, because those guys, they
yeah,
can
yeah,
decide to
yeah.
to
But then
change their
again,
contract. Yeah.
yeah, but then again, I strongly believe that crypto has matured to a level where we can take some of this hack and the protocols will not shut down. Because in those early
Yes.
days, like 5, 6 years ago, in fact, in the early days of DeFi was like 219, 220. You get DeFi actually. Now, in the early days of DeFi, if there was a hack 2020 or 2021, most of those protocols could lead to like their sudden death. Again,
Mm-hmm.
because they have not made profit. You understand, and you just collected investors' money. So how can they continue functioning and all of those things? But now we've gotten to the point where most of these protocols they have made good profit. You get, so they have like a very solid shock absorber that they can use to like be able to bounce back and recover. You get, they have like so much money that they have accumulated. That's the major advantages that these old protocols have that these new protocols don't have. The old protocols that have been around for 4 years plus, they have made good profit, or even 3 years and above. They've made like good profit. And like in every business, when you're making money, just you don't need to be spending. Most times you need to save up for days like this. So if you ask me,
Yeah.
I would say Balancer is not supposed to even shut down because of this hack. Those guys have been around since 2020, right after Uniswap. Again, they came with a basket of tokens, their concepts, instead of an LP of just two pairs, they had like more baskets. You get more tokens rather in that basket that people could supply and provide liquidity. So they came up with that concept then, and they've been profitable since then. So a
Yeah.
hack of
Yeah. So
100 they should be able to bounce back. Even if maybe it affects their reserve funds or profits, they should be able to easily get funds from maybe investors or banks because you already have a profitable business model. You understand? So most persons, as
mhm.
long as they see that it's not your fault, it's not like in the case of FTX, where they were
Yeah,
using
mismanagement. Yes.
users' funds for investment. As long as it's not something like that, they can bounce back, which is similar to what we saw with Bybit. Bybit hack was over a
Yeah.
billion, $1 billion, and
It was the highest in crypto then. Yes.
yeah, over $1 billion worth of Ethereum. Yeah, and Bybit was still functioning majorly because they have been making profit over the years. It's a sustainable and profitable business model. So even if they needed funds, investors would jump in, you get, and throw in money, either as loan or they can just invest more money into the platform. You get, but unlike the case of FTX, it was a case of gross mismanagement. Like no one even wanted to jump in and save because this person in question had just showed a lack of integrity. So they didn't want to get involved in things like that. It's not like FTX was not profitable. Yeah, back then it was
Yeah.
very, very profitable. It was working very, very well, but it was just a case of integrity, and he couldn't show any clear systems in place. And remember, then they were saying stuffs like he was the one handling and controlling everything. He was running it almost like a one-man business. He gets all the keys, everything. So those things were what made that FTX crash happen like so fast. Yeah, but
Yes.
that's about some of the stuffs happening in the markets relating to like news. Now, jumping into like some trends briefly, we saw some good pumps yesterday from some of the trades that we dropped. Yeah, we dropped Sora, we dropped Gigo Fund, and we saw some really really good pumps. Let me just share my screen briefly. Just
Sora actually did well because with what they are bidding, we talked about it yesterday, and it didn't
yeah,
even
yeah,
take long. We saw more than 90% move in the price, which is
yeah.
good.
Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, your screen is live.
Okay, so I think Gigo, when we spoke about Gigo yesterday, Gigo was at $130. Now Gigo ran yesterday to as high as $260, which was like very, very crazy profit done yesterday, because I recall very well that it wasn't even up to 135. And I was saying that there's every possibility for it to go above 150. In fact, CZ tweet was not yet priced in. Right now, I believe it's priced in because it has gone to like retest its previous all-time high. So short term, I believe it's priced in. Most persons will start taking profits. Personally, I sold off some around $245 yesterday. Yet, so people would start taking profit, and we might now see some consolidation around this price zone, maybe between 190 and 210, before probably we see another leg up. Well, we also called Sora yesterday, and Sora was around 3.5 M yesterday, 3.3, 3.4, maximum 3.5. Sora did almost 80%, got to about 5.8 million. And right now it's consolidating. It's actually consolidating now. So a second leg up might see it get to 10 M. Now, like I said, you might want to go look up Sora for those listening or watching. You might want to go and look up Sora, check their Twitter, see what they're building. I believe it's a project that has that capacity to go above 10M long term. So the strategy is simple. Take out your capital if you're in profit, at least just to make sure that you're running risk-free. You can take profit whenever you feel like. Then some other narratives that we're looking at, we've seen Dash. Dash has done another new all-time high this year. What do you think about Dash so far? I just pulled up privacy coins list, but what do you think about Dash? Dash is like the 22nd biggest cryptocurrency now by market cap. You can see it's at 8.5 billion. And this year alone, just this year, Dash has done more than 1000% bump from below 600, 500 M, that's gone to about 8.5 billion. Arguably the best performing large cap project this year. I don't think any other comes close to Dash this year. I don't think so. But what do you think so far?
Well, I think Dash is getting its turn because of the whole privacy coin trend, which is spearheaded by Zcash. So, like when we're having this, remember when we had this conversation, I told you then Dash hasn't actually started moving, recently. I said since Zcash is moving, we have like other OG private coins like Dash, Monero, I've forgotten a few others too, that are actually okay. Well, I think there was a situation with Monero one time, I think whether the founder was arrested or something like that. Because Monero was like the preferred choice for so many people that wanted privacy coins. They were using Monero more than even Zcash. But
Yeah.
probably because of what happened with Monero, so people are now tilting towards Zcash, and Zcash is performing very well. So now the attention, that the attention has gotten to Zcash. Now, I also made comments of tokens like, what's it called, Bitcoin Cash, right? Because
Yeah.
some people, they might look at it that, okay, these OG tokens are beginning to pump, right? Yes, even though they are privacy OG tokens, but maybe there might be a chance for Bitcoin forks like
Yeah.
what's it called? Bitcoin Cash and a couple of other, Bitcoin forks. But you remember you said that, oh, that would not be like a good move if you left maybe privacy coins and then you start going to buy what's it called,
OG
Bitcoin
project.
Cash. Yes,
Yeah,
OG
OG
projects,
project.
because you're anticipating they are going to run. There are a whole lot of them that they are low key, they've not been talking anything, but people might just go and start buying them, and depending on who is buying them and the community around who is buying them, you might see those coins temporarily pump. We've seen weird things in this space. Someone can
Okay.
just go and start buying Ethereum Classic, and before you know it, the
Yeah, yeah,
Ethereum Classic pumps short term. Yeah.
yeah, but still looking at it now, because there's one thing that is very, very obvious. Zcash is currently the most profitable large cap project this year, over about 14x, 1,400%. Now, even when you look at the list of privacy projects, Litecoin hasn't moved. If you ask me, Litecoin has one of the biggest opportunities. It has not moved. Zcash started from below 400M earlier this year, and it has flipped Litecoin. Litecoin was around this market cap for almost all the time this year. Zcash has flipped it by over 2 billion. Now we still have others that are still very good, OG and privacy. We have Dash. Dash is consolidating right now, between to consolidate between 97 and about 106 before it to make another leg up. So Dash is still good if you ask me. I'm still holding Dash. Decreed actually did a reasonable pump yesterday because it dumped about 27, 28. It pumped a bit. So right now, most of them are consolidating. Decreed is consolidating, another solid OG project. XVG, Verge, is also consolidating. Looking at the market cap, is really, really consolidating. Do you have any ones here that you feel you're more bullish on than the others? For me personally, it's Dash. I'm not really holding much of Decreed. It's Dash and SVG for me, and Litecoin. But for you, do you have like any ones that you're majorly looking at that you feel would be able to run as hard as Zcash? Then also, how high do you think Zcash can go?
Well, I don't. Zcash, I think Zcash all-time high was around 5K or so. So, and if people are really start looking or taking Zcash as a competitor to Bitcoin, then it will run crazy. To be
Yeah,
honest, if the people start weighing the pros and the cons of comparing Bitcoin against Zcash, it's going to run crazy. And you know that once these people will feel that, oh, I missed out on Bitcoin, and Zcash is like Bitcoin's younger brother or Bitcoin's competitor, it's going to run crazy, to
yeah,
be honest. And then people might not start looking at, oh, Zcash is even more private than Bitcoin, So that's we have that particular angle. Then for me, if we look at ones that might run hard in terms of this privacy coins, everybody knows Litecoin. People have an idea of Litecoin, right? So,
yeah.
I think we've had rumors of the ETF or so for Litecoin and all that stuff. So, Litecoin has
Yeah,
the
the
chance
first
to
the first
use.
ETF has been approved for Litecoin. The first ETF.
Yes. So right, Litecoin has the potential to actually also run crazy, right? The rest
Yeah,
of the pack, like maybe Dash, Decreed, might just get some of the pump, right? But my question would be, will this really be sustainable throughout the bull market, right?
Yeah.
Will this thing not be like a temporary pump? Because people now that might start buying Zcash or Decreed or Litecoin might want to
Yes.
buy it the way that they want to buy Bitcoin and hold for like 5 years or 10 years or that kind of stuff, right? So my concern is if people that are going to make such kind of investment, would these technologies, because Bitcoin and Ethereum or even Solana or BNB might stand the test of time because they have so much backings and infrastructure and all that stuff,
Yeah.
backing them. But
Yeah.
would Zcash, would it be something that will not regulation will not come down hard on? Because remember what happened to Monero and the government. Remember what happened to what's the name of the protocol that helps you mix
Tornado
Ethereum?
Cash. Tornado Cash.
Tornado Cash, yes.
Yeah.
So that's the part I'm looking at, because the government might come tomorrow and go after the founder of Zcash or
Okay,
go
but
after Zcash itself.
yeah, yeah, that's a possibility. But looking at the positives right now, we are still in the Trump administration. The odds of Trump doing that is very slim. But majorly looking at Zcash charts, like I just pulled up the charts right now for Zcash, it's it's almost as if it's at price discovery. Now, why I'm saying this is because for most exchanges, their charts are just backdated to maybe 219, 220. You get their charts are not
Mhm.
backdated to the early days of Zcash, like 216, 217, when it ran to, I think 216, it ran to over $1,000. The chart ain't backdated that long. So for most charts right now on Zcash, on most exchanges, it's on price discovery. So when you look at it now, one would ask, how high can this run? And Zcash, they have packaged themselves as a better version of BTC with
Mhm.
privacy. Initially, it was a fork of Bitcoin code base. You get 21 million. Most of the stuff stays relatively the same. And they are telling you that it just has better features and properties than BTC. So when you factor in some of these things, and I also believe that most persons will not just go and dump. Like, look, come on now, look at this chart. This pump it has been crazy, like really, really crazy since June. Zcash was around $35 in the month of June, and it's just been one way up. One would wonder how high can this go. Personally, I'm not buying any Zcash spots except the old ones that I already have. But I don't mind swing trading it every now and then, should I see some corrections. Then speculating my own opinion on how high it can go, I would say there's every possibility that it can still do another 70% from here. I don't know how fast, by the way. I don't know how fast, but with the way people are beginning to FOMO into Zcash, I won't be surprised if it gets to like $750 before we start seeing maybe a reasonable correction to around 360 or $400. So that's my take on it, though. I don't know if you have something you want to share before we look at some coins that we're actually accumulating today.
No. I just look at uh, maybe look at the narrative around privacy coins again, because like I said, you can never predict the government to a T to say, oh, they would not go after privacy coins. It might not be the US government, it might be another government, it might be someone laundering money through a privacy coin. Something might spark an outrage, and because whether we like it or not,
Yeah,
governments being involved in crypto, KYC and anti-money laundering regulations and requirements is going to be high. But then when people are playing
very
with
high.
privacy coin, when people are now playing with privacy coin, it creates a loophole in the whole KYC process, because if I'm interacting with the privacy coin and I have privacy protocols that can anonymize me, and why would I comply with the government and all that? So My own is the long term, those I want to buy and hold for long term, right? Not like you that already has and then you want to swing. There are people that they are seeing it as, oh, Bitcoin reached 100 and something thousand. This one is around $500 and it's 21 million. It's privacy, it's better, and they've read the news and they've done the math. So if they can just buy like 10 or 15 and hold for the next 10 years or 15
Yeah.
years, that's the people that I'm interested in, not people that want to buy and swing.
No,
Yeah.
okay, I get that. Yeah, so just taking some questions before we share some of the projects we are accumulating. So someone is asking Ion, is Ion privacy coin? Please share updates. Yes, Ion is actually an L1 that enables blockchains to have a privacy feature. And yeah, Ion is one of the coins that we are actually accumulating. And Ion was recently acquired by Coinbase. I think the CEO of Coinbase actually did tweet it to help enable privacy transactions on their blockchain base. And I think those privacy transactions, I don't know if it's limited to just stable coins, but yeah, the tweet is out there. They made that tweet. And Ion is still very undervalued, below 20 FTV. So let me just briefly share my screen. So before we round up, because we're already past 20 minutes, should be rounding up in about 2 minutes. So one of the projects we are accumulating is Redstone. This is more of a long-term play. Redstone is almost like Chainlink. They are very profitable. It's been functional for a while now, over a year, by the way, and it's doing really well. Now, because of the BTC dump, it dumped to our points of interest, to the zones that we're interested in. Yet now, if you look at the chart this year, it hasn't necessarily been profitable. In fact, this was where it took off from a few months ago, around 20 something, 30 cents. So we're accumulating it again around this zone and expecting it to pump above 45, 50 cents, probably to as much as $1. I think 2 months ago when it was listed on, I'm trying to remember the exchange, a new exchange, it pumped it to almost $1. Now there's no one saying that can't repeat itself again. Same thing can still happen because for all I know, this project is very, very much undervalued. Another project, let me briefly pull up the Ion for those watching. Iron Fish, that's the full name of the project. Iron Fish. So just in case you want to accumulate it, this is it. Iron Fish. You can see the FTV is at 15M. So you can check their tweets and you would see how they have some affiliation with Coinbase. So I strongly believe that we should expect some news from Base relating to what Ironfish is trying to build for them. And once that news drops, the project should actually pump real good. Another project that we're looking into is Dusk. We spoke about Dusk. We spoke about Dusk on Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse. It was at 51 cent, 0.051 cents. It has pumped almost 20% today. So we accumulated Dusk slightly below 0.05. So we're about 20% up. So Dusk is also a privacy project. Now, if you look at Dusk charts, it has bottomed, like it has flattened out. It's listed on Binance, by the way. It's down bad, like really, really bad. It's one of two things that will happen to Dusk. It's either it pumps crazy, and what they're building is insane. It's really, really solid. It's according to them, they say it's better than Zcash and Dash put together. Yeah, so what they're building, it's really, really solid. It's obviously an L1, very, very solid. But the issue is it has been dumping for years, like for years. If you knew Dusk in the last bull run, you would know it was one of those big projects that was very, very promising. But since then, it's just been continuous dump till now. So it's one of two things that will happen. Either they'll capitalize on this privacy narrative and pump real good, pump to as high as 60 cents, about 10x from here, as high as almost 10x from here, or they'll be delisted from Binance because they're still listed on Binance. So it's one of those things. Now, because of time, we can't be able to keep talking. This is supposed to last for maximum 20 minutes, and we've stretched slightly beyond 20 minutes. So we're wrapping up here. So if you have questions, we do hold this Mondays to Fridays, 10 a.m. to 10:20 in the morning. If you have questions, you can always join via YouTube or Twitter, leave your questions. And also, if you want to join the community, the link is always in the description. You can join the community. We also hold Twitter Spaces Tuesdays evening and Fridays evening by 7 or 8 p.m. Then Clubhouse Sundays around 4 p.m. So you can actually join and interact, ask questions, and most of those things will be responded to real time. So don't forget to always share the link, like, subscribe, and don't forget to join us same time tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys.